Hello, everybody. We are live at Boulevard. This is not our usual setting, obviously. I wish it were. Most of the time we're at Arrowhead. Sometimes we're in the Stars office. But we are doing a special event because it's playoff week and there aren't enough things going on. So we decided to bring the show on the road. I've got to get my my game day apparel on. Let me get ready. I don't know about. I mean, if it works for Patrick, it's going to work for me, right?
If you get it on the right way.
Is it upside down? I tried to figure it out. My hoops are hot, so that's not a problem he has. This is a hazard of the job. So now we're ready.
Free to the first 50,000.
Yeah, so if you are
$49,999.
Yeah, sorry guys, I got a head start on the headbands. But I'm probably not going to stay like this because I don't want to be a meme later. But let's get
retweeted 7,000 times.
Oh, good. Let's get started with Eric Berry because before I even tweeted out that we were having a Facebook Live today, I got an email from someone that had a lot of Eric Berry questions. So I assume that there's going to be a lot throughout the night. So let's just address him off the top because we all know so much about what's going on. He did not practice today. He did not play in the Raiders game. He did practice yesterday, but it was a 10-10-10 situation, which means he really didn't do a whole lot of anything. What do we think is going on? Does anybody have an answer for what's happening? Sam, let's start with you. What is the Eric Berry situation?
Not what you want. I keep thinking about this, right? Like for a long time when he was day to day for 100 days, he's making progress, there are no setbacks. We've seen setbacks, was this 2 weeks in a row, 3 weeks in a row, before, when they're getting ready for a game. I think this caught the Chiefs by surprise. I think they felt like yesterday, they thought he felt good. They were going to get him for the playoffs. I think there's been a feeling in the organization that overly cautious, but now it's the postseason, a postseason that ends with a Super Bowl in his hometown. A season that, I think he feels like he has the best chance to get to a Super Bowl that he's had in his career, and I think that's accurate. So I think this caught him by surprise. It's not time to panic yet. I think whether he practices tomorrow is a better indication. I think if he's limited again tomorrow or doesn't practice tomorrow, that's a huge red flag. But I think there's a chance that he doesn't go today, can go tomorrow, and play Sunday. That's the optimistic view anyway.
Let's go down a hypothetical path here because that's what we do. If he doesn't play Saturday and the Chiefs make it all the way to the Super Bowl and he doesn't play in any of those games, what are the odds that he plays in the Super Bowl?
If he doesn't play this week or next week.
Right, exactly. Right, there's only 2 games before we get there.
Yep.
Well, it means he'll have had 5 weeks off from playing, right? So, I mean, it would enhance his chances, I guess.
You would think.
But look, one of the things we've been saying all along is that we've never really gotten kind of the core of the mystery, right? I mean, we get bits and pieces, but they still haven't really even spoken publicly about the precise nature of the injury.
Right.
And every time we've had Eric Berry, I think this is right. We've probably had 3 opportunities with him, maybe 2, and each of them were for 2 minutes. So we don't really have a direct insight, as much as we've launched probes all over the place. So I think crapshoot or roll the dice, whatever the term you used was, is all we can know. And this takes me back to where we were. I think we're trying to figure out who had the best odds of playing out of the group that was out.
You're spoiling what I had down for later.
No, I'm working with you. I felt it. I knew that's where you were going. So let me throw that back to you.
No, thanks. I wasn't ready for it yet, though, so you jumped ahead like 3 lines.
Didn't get the script.
Yeah, what the heck. But here's my question, though. If kind of related to that, how to you, well, Tony Romo used the word pissed. How much in trouble are the Chiefs in if Eric Berry doesn't play?
I'll just say one quick thing. They're 0-2 with Eric Berry.
So
I mean, they've had a fine season without him, right? I mean, you assume they're better with him, with the healthy Eric Berry,
right.
But I don't think you can say all is lost without Eric Berry.
They're also 0-2 with Eric Berry, and he hasn't finished the game. So, I don't really know what that stat says because in the most crucial situations, he hasn't been in there. So
The first time he played was against the Chargers, and they obviously had him on a pitch count, right? He only played 30 snaps, only played in the first game, or the first half. Second game's at Seattle, right? And he played double, was it 65 or so?
68 or 70,
68,
yeah.
But he doesn't finish either game. I think the intention was for him to play the entire Seahawks game, but the defense was on the field so much in the second half that they couldn't, they just decided, all right, it's been too many snaps. You're done for the night. Now, I think if you're Andy Reid and you're working with this, you're thinking, well, if we're getting a chance to play Eric Berry on Saturday, you want him finishing the game. You want him playing in the third and the fourth quarter, even if he's on a limited basis or on a pitch count, maybe he doesn't start the game. If he only has 50 or 60 snaps in him, don't play him until the second quarter and make sure he's there for the entire fourth quarter and what we all think is going to end up being a close playoff game. And if it's not, then that's great. You save snaps for him, but we don't know. We don't know. We just don't know what really is going on with him. And we asked Bob Sutton about it today.
I'm sure you got a really good answer.
Well, at least you got an answer. You can't ask any of the Chiefs coaches what's going on because nobody will tell you that. But Bob did open up and say, how important he was to the defense, and I think he's very important for what the Colts do. They throw to their tight end. They're a good running team. Eric Berry, a healthy Eric Berry would be dynamic in this game. I'll take even 80% Eric Berry against this Colts team, what the Colts like to do.
Yeah, and he did leave the door open a little bit by saying, whether it's him or Dorian O'Daniel, who also didn't practice this week, that, it's at that point in the season where missing reps is sort of less, I don't want to say less important, but less of a big deal. Like they can miss reps and still be able to play at the end of the week. So he said he left that open for him and O'Daniel. Now, while Sam was trying to be optimistic, I'm going to probably have to take the other side of that and just say 2 games he's played in. One, he had an extra 2 days rest, right? And then still doesn't get through the next game. And now we haven't seen him in 2 weeks, and he doesn't make it through a 10-10-10 without having to miss the next day. I'm not seeing it. I'm just saying I would assume I would approach it as he's not going to be able to play. That's just.
Well, and you mentioned that it's that Bob Sutton said it's not a huge deal if they miss reps. But how concerning is it? Like you mentioned, Dorian O'Daniel's been missing practice this week, and we didn't know that he was injured until Monday, I think was that first day. There was no inkling of an idea that he had been hurt in the Raiders game. Maybe did he get hurt in the bye week? Did he get hurt, I don't know, walking down the street? What level of concern is there that Dorian O'Daniel, who hasn't had a huge role throughout the season, but who has in the last couple of weeks kind of been more prominent in the game plan, how concerning is it that he's not practicing right now?
Well, he's become increasingly important just because, and Lynn wrote about it. He did a good job with his story about how, the Chiefs have kind of relied on his speed a little bit at that position in the middle with the type of offenses they faced. And I think you want Dorian O'Daniel. You absolutely want him healthy and available, and him not practicing these first 2 days of the week. When a guy's not out there for the 10-10-10, that raises the flag with me. You're right, Sam. When you don't practice on Friday, that's the bigger indicator. But when you're not out there after a week off and not out there in the 10-10-10, I got to think that we're not going to see him on Saturday.
And he's one of those guys where you talk about the tight ends. That's sort of what they brought him in to do.
Yep.
To be a linebacker who can match up with guys in coverage, who can run around, who's not just a run stopper, a big guy clogging up space. And you lose that, and I'm not really sure who falls into that spot. Maybe they use one of the safeties like Sorensen or Jordan Lucas, but Bob wasn't willing to tell us that. But
I can't believe that.
Go figure.
But yeah, you're going to have to fill in that spot.
That's potentially a big problem, though, right? Like against this team, because Eric Ebron's had 13 touchdowns, I think, 700 and some yards. Their running backs, you might want to double check me on this, Vahe, but I think their running backs have more than 100 catches. That's the stuff that Eric Berry and Dorian O'Daniel do. This is not. There's never a great time, to have injuries, but this is definitely not it.
And how about we're talking about Dorian O'Daniel like he's started all year?
Yeah, right.
That's where we are with this defense. They're missing a rookie who he started one game, I think, right? I think he's got one start this season.
The Rams game.
Yeah. So, but that's where we are with the Chiefs.
Hey, imagine the panic if Charvarius Ward was hurt right now. Oh no, back to Orlando Scandrick, which is not what anybody wants. Another injury, while we're talking about injuries, let's go over to the other side of the ball. Sammy Watkins is a guy who is practicing. He was out there on the 10-10-10 day. He was okay enough to come out today. By the way, let's give a quick definition of 10-10-10 because I feel like we're just tossing that around. Can anybody give me, because I can't define it, any takers here can
Lynn
tell us what it
played the game.
Lynn, did you participate in that
played the
game?
game too.
Vahe played the game. We've got 2 college football stars.
We need to
Stars.
have like a combine of star riders, and maybe you guys should just race. Vahe's really speedy. You guys didn't know that.
They didn't do this back in Jurassic. I don't remember what 10-10-10 was. I remember, literally bells and whistles and go on to the next drill, but I don't know specifically what the 10-10-10 entails. But it's basically a tight and bright version of what they're trying to do, right?
Right.
I mean, they're curtailing practice. It's pulled back a little. It's certainly not as physical, and I think short of a just shells day, whatever you'd call that in the modern
A
era.
walkthrough. It's a
Well, yeah, I think it's like a step past walkthrough, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's at least the ones in training camp we get to see everything and practice is open. Those days there was no pads. It was it was no real contact. It was you're running through plays, you're running full speed, but you're not hitting. You're just sort of I don't want to say going through the motions, but kind of that's what you do.
It's shorts.
Does anyone
shorts
know
and helmets.
why it's called 10-10-10?
Just because of the,
is
the
it like
amount
10
of
minutes of this, 10 minutes of
the
that,
amount of
10
time
minutes of that?
at each
God, I
stage.
feel like we should have cleared this up during training camp, but I'm glad that it's the playoffs, and now I'm addressing that I don't know what it is. I just know that it means we have 5 minutes to watch them touch their toes, and then we go back inside.
Well, Andy would have told you that he'll get that to you.
He'll get that
Yes.
to yeah, right?
And those toes of Sammy Watkins, or at least the ankle or foot of Sammy Watkins, was,
Right.
as you noted in
Thank
the
you for
video,
bringing us back around, yeah.
was heavily taped
It was, yeah,
yesterday.
the right, and
I-
it was taped today. I could have taken the same grainy zoomed-in photo, but I elected not to because it was cold and I kept my hands in my pockets. But if you want to know what he looked like today at practice, just go look at my tweet from yesterday. Same kind of thing, right foot, ankle, heavily taped. I tried to talk to him today. He said that he was not speaking with us this week, but he did walk into the locker room with both feet. So that was exciting. And then he quickly laid down, so I don't know if there was a limp going on, but Sammy likes to nap in front of his locker sometimes, and this was one of those times.
One of the points Sam made, I think, when last we congregated, was that this Saturday would be basically 6 weeks from the 4 to 6 week period, right? I mean, and who knows, those are only estimates when they tell you, but it's part of what makes you feel like, okay, at least it's on track. We don't know about any setbacks. Then again, we didn't hear about him being in a cast or boot
The
until a
boot,
few
too.
days after he came out of the cast and boot. So it's a murky thing still.
Is that 4 to 6 weeks since the Rams game, or he
I
missed
feel
the
like
game
we've been
before
saying it's
that?
4 to
You did
6
that
weeks
math,
for a
Sam.
long time.
Yeah, I think it was. I'd have to double check this actually.
You have to get it to us.
But I think it was 4 to 6 weeks from the Rams game.
Okay.
I think.
Because he didn't play the week
And that was
before.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah, right.
Was it Cleveland where he was hurt?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was
And
Cleveland
we
where
saw
we
him
saw
limping
him
in.
come out of the locker
Yeah.
room.
And go to the-
Andy said,
yeah.
it's no big deal. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, it was a big deal. It was a very big deal, as it turns out.
Yeah.
But how important, earlier this week I was asked if I had a magic wand, who would I heal? I would do a lot more if I had a magic wand. But between the guys that are hurt right now, would you use the magic wand on Sammy Watkins versus anybody else if you could bring them back from the injury report list?
Eric Berry would be mine.
Yeah.
My number one guy, just because of the problems they have on defense. But Watkins is absolutely important. They're very important to what they do and close to being essential. I mean, to what they want to do,
Yeah.
and to be the best version of the offense it can be.
There's a case to be made for each, like a logical, coherent case to be made for each. Sammy Watkins, I think, is more effective, a better player, at least from what we've seen. We don't know what Eric Berry is at this point, but I guess I'm just parroting you. Like, the defense just needs a lot of help. The offense, they're going to go get 35 or 40 or whatever. I feel pretty confident in that. The defense needs a lot of help. That's where I would land with my magic wand.
Lynn, where would you put your magic wand? How would
Well,
you
I think
assign that?
somebody asked this or a similar question on Facebook or Twitter before about which one is more important to get back, and I think I keep coming back to Sammy because the defense you just don't. I mean, you're not counting on the defense. You're counting on the offense to score points, and if you're going to win, it's going to be because of the offense. And you could say, well, they're going to score anyway, But to me, Sammy changes the way the defense has to approach things, the opposing defense. So, and he opens things up and he just sort of puts you in a bind. And so if you're going to have to rely on scoring 35, 40, we've seen 50 points this season, then I think you probably need to have Sammy, especially against playoff teams. It's not the Raiders in the last game of the season. That doesn't really matter for them. I think Sammy.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Sammy too. And we have Paul wants to know, is there any word on Laurent Duvernay-Tardif? He hasn't been on the injury report because he's still on IR. But do you guys get a sense? I mean, are we going to see him on Saturday?
My sense is we're not going to see him on Saturday, but we don't know what's going on in practice with him. He's not part of. We see him warming up, but we don't know if he's working in with, or to what extent he's working in with the starters, or whoever he's working in with. That could be a big surprise on Saturday if we see him out there warming up and running with the first team. But I think I would be surprised by that.
They would have to make an announcement, right? That they're
They would.
taking him off IR. It wouldn't just be surprise. Here's a guy that we haven't seen in a long, long time.
Oh no, they would surprise. They would. I don't even know if they would announce it, but they would. There would be some kind of announcement, or it would show up on the wire,
Right.
on the personnel wire. But I don't know. I just don't get the vibe. They have until next week. The 21-day window started for him a couple of weeks ago, and you've got 21 days to activate him, or he doesn't play at all. He's worth it. He's worth
So
it.
is he a difference maker? Can he be a difference maker on Saturday? Does the O-line need that amount of help right now to put him in there?
Well, he definitely helps.
He helps and he kind of gets everything back in order a little bit, maybe more people where they belong, and more of the right people where they belong. I don't know that, if we're going back to the magic wand thing, certainly I think you take Sammy before you take him. But look, it's funny, the line is a funny thing, right? They've had every running back they've had has run for a high average. Patrick Mahomes has had a great year. Patrick Mahomes has had a great year by running for his life at times. So it's a little hard to define what this line has been. There have been times where I felt like, well, it's really had a great year, but there have been times where you can see how they could be part of the unraveling.
Hey, they've got a Pro Bowler. So how many lines have those?
And an alternate.
And an alternate.
At the other tackle.
Maybe it should have been the other way around. And an All-Pro, although the alternate and the All-Pro are the same people. But yeah, Sam, do you have any thoughts on the O-line and LDT?
I'm really high on Duvernay-Tardif. I think he's a really good player. His strength is space. He's athletic. His strength is the screen game. And I kind of don't think they've done that as much with his injury. And, so if he comes back or when he comes back, I think that adds a little bit of adds a little something they can do. Damian Williams can certainly, be on the receiving end of those screens. He's terrific in that. So I think it makes a difference. It's not critical. I thought they were going to take a huge step back. We talked about this before. I thought LDT's injury was like, I don't know who. I don't trust any of these guys they have behind him. I thought that was going to be a really big deal. It hasn't been as much of a factor as I would have expected, but he is a plus in that screen game, getting out in space.
Let's talk a little bit about the guys that are behind the O-line, and the specific I'm thinking of is Spencer Ware, because in all of our injury conversation, we haven't really been concerned about Spencer Ware, but he has also been practicing with Sammy Watkins, and we haven't been as concerned about Spencer because Damian Williams has come in, done a good job, gotten himself an extension, gotten himself paid. How important is it for Spencer Ware to play this weekend? Does he need to be a part of the game plan, or are they okay rolling with the Williams tandem they've got going on?
Well, I do think they want him for the depth.
Right.
We've seen Chiefs-Colts playoff games where running backs got hurt.
Yes, we have.
And it changed the game. It wasn't on the concrete. This won't be on the concrete surface of Indianapolis.
That's right.
But I think just for that, you want that, right? You see Damian Williams go down, and no Spencer Ware there too. I know we've had some Williams stuff, but
It would make it easier for our game stories if we could have a little bit more variety in the running back group.
Yeah. But I will say, I remember that one run Damian Williams had in his first start when he basically reversed field. Mm-hmm. I remember thinking, I didn't know he had that, and I've been sort of thinking that ever since. I think he's better than Spencer Ware.
I think so too.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, spoiler alert, I've said spoiler alert like 4 times. That's my thing tonight, I guess.
Spoiler alert.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Hopefully at some point this week or next, I'm working on a story about Damian Williams. Talked to his mom, talked to his high school coach. And the first thing I said to his mom is, hey, I want to do this story because nobody here knows Damien Williams. He seems to have come out of nowhere. And she said, it's funny that you said that phrase because that's been his thing his whole life, is he has come out of nowhere. In high school, he joined a high school team that had 4 or 5 running backs and really, really good ones. And, they saw this kid that had a lot of raw potential and they tried to put him at linebacker. And he argued and said, absolutely not, I will not do this. And fought his way into the running back room. Then he had to go to JUCO. Not really much of a known quantity at JUCO. He had some academic issues, which is why he had to go there. And coming out of JUCO, he was looking at going to either Texas Tech or OU. And his mom looked at both rosters and said, son, Texas Tech doesn't have very many running backs. Maybe you should go there. And he said, no, I would really like to go to OU where their whole thing is running backs. I would like to be like Adrian Peterson and go here. And they didn't really know anything about it. I mean, obviously they knew about him. They recruited him. He had a scholarship offer. But he went there and kind of came out of nowhere, and 3 games in, he's a starter. And it was kind of the same thing with the Dolphins. Was a starter late after they traded Jay Ajayi to the Eagles. Started, got hurt. And now here, I mean, he joins a team where Kareem Hunt's on the roster, Spencer Ware's on the roster. If you're a free agent running back, why are you coming here? But that's just how he's worked all along. That's his thing, is he likes to come out, surprise people. He likes to take people by, he likes to be just a pleasant surprise, a nice late season injection. I'm sure he'd like to be a starter from day one, but he's a grinder. And that's kind of what he's come in and done here, is he's then taken all of us by surprise. So that seems to be his MO the whole time.
Well, it's worked for him.
Clearly.
It's working for him this year for sure. I want to go back to something you said. I think one of the reasons we haven't seen the screen game as effectively, it's because of Kareem Hunt not being there. Not so much.
Sure.
He was terrific in the screen
gosh.
game. That first touchdown against Cleveland was just was magic. I mean, and I think they've missed that. I think Damien Williams has been more than adequate as a replacement, especially since he's the second replacement.
Right.
Spencer Ware, who's hurt. But they're happy with Damien Williams, obviously.
Right.
They signed him.
The funny thing is about the screen game, I talked to his high school coach today, and his high school coach said Damien could not catch a pass out of the backfield to save his life. The screen game was not a part of anything he could do in high school. And he sees now, one of his signature things is being a receiving back and catching balls out of the backfield. And his coach is like, where did this come from? Because you couldn't do this at all in high school. You were just a bruiser, could run over people. But he said that that's what he kind of teases him about now. So maybe we'll see more of that if LDT comes back and is healthy and they can integrate that back in their game.
Well, the other thing, you mentioned LDT when we talk about the screen game, is remember, Cam Irving, for a guy his size, for a guard, is a guy who's played all 3 spots and who can get out in space. And, Jeff Allen is sort of taking over that spot after Cam got hurt. I forget which game that was, but
he's missed 3.
Yeah, he's missed 3, and I mean, he's been healthy for the last couple. They just haven't played him. They've kept Jeff Allen in there. So I think that's another thing that's sort of contributed to the screen game, is when you don't have those 2 guards who are used to doing that, who are able to get out in space and make the blocks, then that sort of limits that a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go. Lynn, you wrote a story earlier this week. Let's look at the Chiefs' defense again, hop back over there, and talk about the Chiefs' defensive line versus the Colts' offensive line. That's going to be one major thing that this game comes down to, kind of strength against strength. We've heard from the Colts about it, the Chiefs about it, but kind of boil it down for us. Why is this one of the things that you should watch?
Well, the Andrew Luck's thrown for almost 40 touchdowns, over 4,000. I think he's 4,000 yards this year, maybe 4,500. He's only been sacked 18 times all season. And that's including the playoff game. They didn't give up a sack last week with J.J. Watt, Clowney against those guys. No
At
sack.
home.
Yeah, they just
in their building.
You just can't touch Andrew Luck basically. And the Chiefs tied with the Steelers for first place with 52 sacks this season. So you got a defense that's sacked the quarterback 52 times. The best thing they do, especially when you look at all the yards they've given up, is get after the quarterback. And an offensive line that just doesn't let you get near them. So that right there, I think, could decide the game, whether or not they're able to get to Andrew Luck. I mean, obviously you got to stop the run and things like that. But there's going to be a time when they have to pass. And if you can get to Luck and disrupt them, it doesn't have to necessarily be sacks, but if you can disrupt him, especially since we know the secondary has given up some passes this season.
Wait,
They've
what?
had a few here and there. that might decide the game. So that's going to be, again, the matchup that, I think the coaches see it. I think Andy Reid talked about it. Bob Sutton talked about it. And then also just how you do it. Like, that was the one thing Bob was talking about today is I asked him about getting there with 4 because the Chiefs are one of the best. I think they're 5th best in the league as far as creating pressure with just 4 rushers. And he talked about, it's a big thing to do it with 4, but sometimes you have to bring an extra guy just to create the matchups. Because I think if you're the Chiefs, somebody blocking one-on-one against Chris Jones, D. Ford, Justin Houston, you take that matchup. So that they'll have to, the picking and choosing, how you decide to rush guys, when you send an extra person, that might decide the game there too, as well as how, it's the getting pressure, but how you get pressure, when you decide to send extra people, that might decide how things turn out.
Well, and how motivated is a guy like Chris Jones, who he got hurt, in the Titans game last year, wasn't able to finish it. I believe you talked to him, got in the middle of that giant scrum that was around him yesterday. What did he have to say about that?
A year later, that still sits with him. I'm trying to remember exactly how he worded it, but that still bothers him that he wasn't there to play the rest of that game. I think he played, the number was 20 snaps out of 70, and he felt like he let the team down. In the offseason, coming off that knee injury, he changed his diet. He got in better shape. It's been the whole motivating factor for a full year now. So that was the first thing out of his mouth was, yes, that's bothered me. It still bothers me that I wasn't there last year to help the team. So, and it was sort of funny because people asked him about specific guys in the offensive line, and he just sort of talked about the line in general. But he had a little smirk on his face because when you talk to him during the season, he feels like he can win one-on-one matchups. But he's just not going to come out and say that. So
he doesn't want to give them bulletin board material.
He's not going to say that. He just does it. Clearly he does it. He's just not going to come out and say it. So I think that's in the back of his mind. That if he can get the matchups, doesn't matter, who's all pro, who's all Pro Bowl, all that sort of stuff, he feels like he can win it.
Well, I'll tell you what, hearing you recite those offense, the sack numbers and how good Indianapolis offensive line is, kind of a common theme in the last couple of years for the Chiefs in the playoffs, how opposing offensive lines have, and a powerful running back have controlled the game, controlled the clock, and controlled the Chiefs. And in Marlon Mack and this offensive line, and I would submit Andrew Luck, the way he's playing now, certainly better than Marcus Mariota last year, and Roethlisberger 2 years ago didn't even get the Steelers into the end zone, but they won the game anyway because they controlled the game, controlled the clock, and that's something Indianapolis can do with this offensive line, potentially. You're right. I think it's going to be so important for Allen Bailey, for Chris Jones, for whoever's in the middle to get some somehow get some pressure, somehow force Andrew Luck into some, uncomfortable moments.
It's hard to know weather, right? Might be a factor, but it's hard to see how either defense is going to stop either offense. This could be.
It's going to be a high-scoring game. It's going to be a Big 12 game, which I'm
both,
here for.
Yeah, both defenses seem like, however you want to look at it, a good or a bad matchup for that offense, right? Like the Colts, the thing that people have been talking about this year, they play a lot of zone. Chiefs pick apart zone. The Colts give up a ton of yards, maybe the worst in the league, one of the worst 4 or 5 leagues, or 4 or 5 in the league to tight ends. Travis Kelce, there's a lot of matchups that can be exploited on each side. This may be, no punts, maybe?
44-41, maybe?
Yeah.
I don't know. If
Has
you're
that
the
ever happened in a playoff game?
Just leave it there. Just leave it there.
I can't remember who the teams were.
Just leave it there.
If you are the Chiefs, do you punt in this game at all, ever?
I wouldn't. I've been saying, I really, this is not a gimmick. This is not like a sports writer, what I think this is the smart football strategy is for them not to never punt. If you're 4th
Dustin
and 20,
Colquitt's going to be really
on
dictating.
5.
Didn't you talk to Dustin this week too?
Did you say, hey, what are you going to do during the game?
But the punts that I'm thinking about is a 4th and 3 against the Chargers, like that 4th and 3 on the 42 or so, and they punt. And Colquitt did his job. He's a terrific punter. Down at the 5, 4 plays later, or whatever it was, the Chargers have those yards back. I think about it like this too. If you're the Colts and it's 4th and 5 or whatever, and it's anywhere close to midfield, aren't you just praying that you see Dustin Colquitt? You don't want to see Mahomes out there with Hill and Kelsey. I mean, think about it like from their point of view. No, I would not punt. In extreme situations, you got, again, 4th and really long on your own 20 or whatever, but I think you got to go. You got to push the gas. Your biggest strength is that offense. Your biggest weakness is that defense. Keep your strength, hide your weakness. That's how I see it.
I like it. That's a very smart game plan.
Hey, it's Blair Kerkhoff, and if you're listening to this, you love Kansas City sports, whether it's the Chiefs, Royals, Sporting, Mizzou, KU, or K-State. And no one covers these teams like the Kansas City Star. If you currently subscribe to the paper or have a digital subscription, thank you for your support. And if you don't, here's a great offer. It's called Sports Pass. Unlimited digital access to every sports story and video on kansascity.com. And it's just $30 for the first year. It's the best sports value in town, just 8 cents a day or $2.50 a month. You can't beat that. Subscribe now at kansascity.com/sportspass.
By the way, I'm glad that you brought up weather because we haven't talked about that yet. And Matthew asked a little bit ago, weather's calling for snow showers. Is that going to be a factor? And I think today the Colts tweeted out a video of somebody dancing in the snow. Was it legitimately snowing in Indy? Was this an old video? Was it fake snow? I have a lot of questions. I didn't check the Indy weather forecast, but maybe I should have. How much is that going to be a factor in this game? Anybody want to be a meteorologist?
Well, last I heard, maybe this is updated from that, the thought was there'd be late morning, early afternoon, some snow, but probably
so it'll
not a
affect
factor
tailgating,
by
which
game
is the
time.
important thing.
Yeah. But that was last I heard, and that was early in the day. And
I think it was like high of 40.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's going to be balmy.
They got a heated field.
Yeah, I wrote about this a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
They put pipes. You go down about 6 inches into the turf, and there are heated pipes down there. The field is always in really good shape.
That makes a huge difference.
If it's not raining at the time, and even when it does rain, when it stops, it dries quickly.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think the track's going to be an issue here.
So we're not going to have I hate to say the name, but we're not going to have a Lynn Elliott situation where.
Well, I didn't say that.
But it makes a huge difference because you guys, I assume, have been following this team for a long time. Like the Arrowhead field used to look like hot garbage, freezing cold garbage in the season. And after they put those pipes in, remember the Oakland game? It was gorgeous.
Yeah.
I mean, it just looked like brand new grass.
This late in the year.
There were a couple of dead spots, but
like over on the one side.
Right. Last 10, 12 years, something like that. Or even farther back.
Not a pipe man.
Not 22 years. Okay.
But the next thing I had on my sheet is, can Patrick Mahomes break the cycle? Because it has been 25 years since a home win. Both Sam and Vahe have written about that this week, and it's been talked about extensively, obviously, at Arrowhead. Sam's laughing the most, so we're going to let him start because he chatted with Joe Montana, as you do at this time of year.
Yeah.
What were your biggest takeaways from that conversation about the cycle and the curse and the 25 years since the last win?
Can I interrupt? Just say something like, no, this like Sam has tried Joe Montana before. Sam kept trying and kept trying. Yeah,
That's right.
boss. Sports Center kept and these things don't just fall off trees. So
I still
good
want to
job.
talk to him for that Houston story a couple years ago. No, I mean he was like, I asked him something like, I'm sure you've heard, like, how often do you hear that they have not won a home playoff game? And he said, I hear it on TV every now and then. And they just went into this big, long, which is crazy because, and he went into this whole thing about Arrowhead Stadium. And he said that, when he signed, that Marty Schottenheimer is like, going berserk about like, you're not going to believe Kansas City. You're not going to believe Arrowhead Stadium. It's different here. And in Montana's telling the story anyway, he's kind of like, all right, Marty, like I've played in Super Bowls, pump the brakes a little bit. It can't be that big of a deal. And then he said that it was like the difference between going from college to the NFL. Like it was that, the speed of the game was that's how he compared the noise, the intensity, all that stuff at Arrowhead compared to other places that he had been used to playing. Now he came from San Francisco, which isn't exactly, it's a different place there, the in-game atmosphere. But his point was, it is freaking wild that they haven't won a game in this long because of that building. And he didn't really have a good answer. Although he said the other big takeaway, and I know he's talked about this before, He's still mad about that Buffalo game. Was that after the '93 season?
Yeah,
after
AFC Championship
his
game.
first season, and he blames it on. He said it was the last game of the season. It was the second to last game of the season where they got blown out by the Vikings,
I remember
who
that,
were
yeah.
not that good that year. And he said they just kind of played around, and that was the difference between playing that AFC Championship game at home and on the road. If they win that, they finish 12-4. So does Buffalo. They get the tiebreaker. It was 51 degrees in Kansas City that day. It was, I think, 18 or something like that in Buffalo. Real cold. You guys might remember the pass was at Kimball Anders. It kind of hit him and it just bounced off his hands. Maybe that was the same play. They were going in for, it would have been a tie. Before halftime.
Right.
Instead, it's an interception, goes back the other way. So instead of tie, now it's 14 points. It's like somewhat slim margins, but he was still mad about that. Think about that. Like a guy won 4 Super Bowls, inner circle Hall of Famer. People outside of Kansas City don't remember that he played in Kansas City, and he's mad about that one outcome. I thought that was interesting.
Reich was on that team too, right?
What's that?
Reich was on that Buffalo team.
On the other side? Frank Reich?
Right.
He might have been the
Right?
backup.
He was
Yeah,
the
yeah.
backup for Jim Kelly, I think, right?
Yeah. He's been a part of some comebacks now. Frank.
2 big ones.
Yeah.
The biggest one ever in the NFL and the biggest one ever in college. So he's so if the Colts are down 30,
So I'll go ahead and start pre-writing that story. Vahe, and you talked to Lynn Elliott earlier this week. I think, was that the interview that I walked up on? You were in the car talking in front of me, and I was going to cause a scene. I'd gone out to get lunch, came back with my Subway sandwich, and parked aggressively close to the back of Vahe's car.
Yeah, you kind
to
of
then
did.
pop around and.
I got
I didn't
whiplash
hit
just
it. I
from being
didn't hit
scared. Yeah.
I don't know if I have car insurance right now, so I didn't hit your car. That's really dangerous. But.
oh, you got some messages now on Facebook Live from insurance.
Yeah, if you guys want to sponsor me, I will take free car insurance. But you talked to Lynn Elliott, which like Montana, he hasn't talked much either, has he?
Not that I know of. I don't think he's been a recluse or anything. But,
Right.
What was interesting was, I'd been thinking about it, and just decided, how many times we're gonna have this circumstance again? I'll give him a call. And I just looked up the number and called him, and I thought I'd call him from the car because I could tape it, so I didn't have to take good notes because I don't take good notes unless I'm taping.
That's what everybody wants to hear. So.
No, that's why I always tape. He was great. We were on the phone almost an hour and a half, about an hour and 20 minutes, and we talked about a lot of stuff. And I thought he was really interesting. I thought he really found the right ground to take ownership of what he did, but also to sort of explain that there were circumstances that maybe weren't ideal. He didn't come off as a sad sack, what was me, but I just thought he was really real, and it was really interesting to me because of that. I like the fact that he did find a way to put it in a compartment basically, and it's part of his life. He uses it in lessons with his children to talk about daring to take chances, and what's funny, sort of about almost relates to the Joe Montana thing, like where he lives, they think of him as Lynn Elliott Super Bowl champion, right? He was a kicker for the Dallas Cowboys. Mm-hmm. When Chiefs games come up about this time of year, he's reminded of it. But he's eager to watch the game Saturday. And one thing that was I had forgotten about this till I was just doing some last minute stuff before I called him. I'd forgotten he went to Texas Tech, which is just kind of a funny twist on the whole thing.
He's a Texas Tech Hall of Famer.
Hall of Famer, and he was a walk-on.
Yeah.
He was a walk-on at Tech. So I don't know if there's some kind of symmetry there. Let's assume, for argument's sake, it's a happy symmetry Saturday where the Tech, the Colts, the Chiefs, playoffs. It works out in the Chiefs' favor this time, but.
I'd emphasize one thing that you just said about he kind of took the high road in some ways. Those were not chip shots. I was at that game in the stands. That is the coldest I've ever been in my life, and I can't. I feel like kicking a football, especially back then. Pre-cake balls, all that stuff must have been like kicking a rock, kicking a brick, or something like that.
Yeah, how do you not break your toes?
The bigger problem he felt, he wasn't really taught. I'm sure that was a factor, but was getting foot planted.
Yeah.
I didn't get a chance to kind of look
No
back at the
pipes.
whole game, but no pipes, and even the place where he was warming up on the side, where that's sort of considered part of the field. It wasn't covered by the tarp in the 48 hours before the game, so he's over there. That's just complete concrete, ice, glass, whatever you want to call it. So they had to cut a piece of turf from somewhere and put it there for his warm-up kicks. I mean, but I thought what was really interesting that he said was, great kickers make those. There are reasons I didn't make it. Great Adam Vinatieri makes those kicks, and they just find a way. So, anyway.
Chiefs need to win the Super Bowl so they can invite him back the way the Red Sox invited Bill Buckner back.
Exactly.
Although the Red Sox won twice before.
It's an important clarification.
He did. I think he did. At the end of the call, I'd have to listen back, but I think he actually suggested he wanted me to, if I bump into Clark Hunt, which we don't really do, to ask Clark to invite him to a game. I think he said that.
Oh wow! Wow.
Didn't quite
Well,
fit in
I'm
the
sure
story,
Clark's
but it was-
watching this,
they
so
should. Clark.
consider the message passed along.
Yeah, bang the drum.
Well, and before we take some audience questions, I think that the one thing that we haven't gone over extensively is the man that can break this cycle and kind of break the curse. It's Patrick Mahomes, that Texas Tech connection. Is he what's going to be the difference in how? I mean, you talked to Joe Montana. Joe said that he's picking the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl because of Patrick Mahomes. Is that fair to put this much pressure on him at this point?
Who cares? If it's fair or not.
Nothing else has worked.
I wish I put that line in the thing I wrote about that.
Well, I mean, it just it reminds me of I went on the radio. This was like before the season, and like we were talking about this exact thing about however many years, and not just since a home playoff win, but since a Super Bowl and all these things. And the one guy was like, no pressure, it's all on you, and the other guy's like, you know what? A lot of pressure, a lot of pressure on you. This is what it's for. But here's the thing about he's 23, first-year starter. Didn't really play in big games in college. Even he's got to go back to the playoffs at White House High to feel like some postseason really pressure. But what about what we've seen so far? And I know we haven't seen the whole body of work, but we've seen 16 games, 17 if you count last year. What in that says that he's going to freak out and shrink in the moment? Like there's been times where he's been overly amped. The beginning of the Denver game, the beginning of the New England game, Seattle. But they ended up scoring 31 in that Seattle game, 40 in New England. Left-handed pass and second and 30 conversion in Denver. I think he's going to be fine. I actually think he's the reason that they'll win. I really do.
Did you get a sense whether or not Joe sort of, and I know he's never met him, so I don't know if he'd actually be able to tell this, but did he sort of see that same attitude that he had in Patrick? Because you know how Joe was famously Joe Cool, and he's in the huddle talking about, hey, that's John Candy over there and all that sort of stuff. And did he, so he never really, the pressure never really bothered him. He didn't even really feel it, if you believe what you hear in stories. Did he see some of that in Pat? Is that part of it, why he could say that and not worry about putting any pressure on the kid?
He didn't talk about that as much. What he talked about was, people like you, people like us tend to focus on the physical gifts a lot for obvious reasons. But the first thing he talks about is not the cool under pressure as much as he sees the whole field. He can go through progressions and all that. And one thing that I thought was really interesting, I said would you give him some advice, or what's something that he can work on? There's no perfect quarterbacks, right? Even ones that are going to win the MVP in their first year. And he said basically as quarterbacks, and this is him talking, I'm not using he's like, as quarterbacks, sometimes we try throws that our arms aren't capable of doing. He's like, he doesn't have that problem. But, we get a little bit full of ourselves and try things that maybe we shouldn't. So the key is to just, remember what got you there, keep doing your work, stay within yourself and go forward, and he'll be fine. And it seems like that's what he's doing. And look, he hasn't played a playoff game, right? Either way, Saturday about 7:30 or 8 o'clock or whatever, 7:30, I guess, the story about Patrick Mahomes is going to be way different, right? He's either going to be another in the line, another chapter, or he's going to be the guy that broke through and beat that team on that field, probably with 38 or so points. That's going to be the big thing. But so far what we've seen is overwhelming evidence that he's going to be fine and be a star on Saturday.
We've had a prediction. Eric says that Mahomes is going to go off for 400 yards and 5 touchdowns.
Not
Over
out of
under
the
on
question.
that.
It's not, yeah, I mean, that sounds crazy for anyone else. The Chiefs have ever had a quarterback
Yeah.
in a playoff game, but nope, not
Sure.
crazy.
Sounds about right. You know.
There's a crazy stat, though. I hate to bring it up. Heard it on the radio today. Some first quarterbacks starting their first playoff game against quarterbacks who are veteran who've had playoff experience. It's bad. It's bad. It's like 4-30 or something like that.
Wow.
It's not good.
But 4 people have won, so if you want to.
Well, and when you think about who they're lining up against, if this is in the last, I don't know, 10, 12 years, you're probably going against Brady, Manning,
Yeah, Tom Brady's had a lot of
Roethlisberger,
those.
Breeze,
Yeah.
some of the best of the best.
Yeah, and the quarterbacks that don't have any experience are probably the ones that aren't going to have experience again.
Yeah. And
Brian Hoyer is part of that stat.
for example,
From a couple years ago, that 30-0,
Yeah.
Chiefs win. So, it's interesting, but what's the stat like all time quarterbacks who have never started a postseason game but won the MVP? What's their record? Boom.
Is-
Go ahead.
0-0, right?
I was going to say,
never happened
does
before.
anyone else?
So some of these
quarterbacks
things,
who have thrown 50 touchdown passes, how was their playoff success that year?
Yeah.
Hey, one quick sort of aside, but and this may or may not end up being telling, but I note that this week Patrick made a point of saying some stuff. I haven't heard him say it this way since early in the season, talking about, to use your term, staying within himself and talking about, I don't have to do extraordinary things. I just have to distribute. I have to get the ball that way. It doesn't mean he'll think that way in the game, but it means, I think it reflects an emphasis that they're all talking about right now. And even he used the term yesterday I hadn't heard him use for a while, if at all, just learning to manage his emotions. And again, this is simplistic and it's what you might expect that he has to work through, but I thought it was notable that he's talking about it that way. I think it in some ways speaks to what they're working with right now.
Yeah.
And
That's
so far
that's
we've
a good
seen his
point.
willpower
Yeah.
kind of just does what he does.
It's just funny, like I have this picture of like him saying like stay within yourself, stay within yourself. Like before you like go to a party, you're like, be cool, man. Just be cool. Like once you get to the party, like,
Starts throwing left-handed,
wondering what Sam was like
50
in
yards
college.
across the field.
Yeah. There is something to that. It's rip the mask off.
But the other part of like staying within himself means, running around like
Yeah, he can do
Fran
that.
Damn Tarkenton,
Yeah.
throwing to Chris Conley in the back of the end zone or
Yeah,
whatever.
his boundaries are much
Yeah, to define themselves, right? I mean, that's the key point probably.
Well, we've got our boss, Jeff Rosen, off camera, who's clutching a microphone, and it looks like he is ready to pass it around. If anybody has audience questions, comments, concerns, I'm sure there's a lot of concerns, but you can either voice them into the microphone or berate us separately when this turns off.
So my question is, should the Chiefs not defer the coin toss?
It's a good question. So that was Jack off camera, or maybe he's on camera actually. We have 2 cameras.
Jack
It's a very
Weaver.
sophisticated setup here. Jack, who watches us every week that we're on, I've accidentally said Jack asked before, but Jack asked. He's the Jack. Yeah, he's the Jack. Yeah. Thank you, Sam, for putting that together.
It took me an hour into the
So should the Chiefs defer if they win the coin toss?
No, not defer.
No.
So they
Like
knock-
take the ball first.
Yes.
Take
Yes.
the ball.
Yes.
They kick the ball first. What do you guys think?
I think they should take the ball first. I think, that streak was all fine and dandy when they were, 5-0 or 8-0, whatever the streak was, including the exhibition games when you had the formula. I think you want the ball as often as you can have it, and I think you take it from the get-go. I also think it's important that they get out to a lead. Lynn has debunked
Yes.
me on this before, and he probably has a better point than I do, but I just think they need to score the first couple touchdowns to win this game.
To me, I think you do defer so that you have the ball at the beginning of the second half. Also, it plays into the end of every half. It always does, because then there's a team that either feels pressure to score or they feel pressure because they're going to the potential looms of going down even bigger if you don't score, or if you do something. You got to try and put points up at the end of the half, because Chiefs get the ball first in the beginning of the second half, then you just assume they're going to score. Like Patrick Mahomes is like, okay, you're going to give them the ball, they're going to score. So that's, so if you're down 7 at halftime, that's like, mentally being down 14, or if you get a chance to go score and tie it up or make it even, then you have to maybe you press a little bit because coming up they're going to get the ball at the beginning of the second half. Plus, their defense has been pretty good, hasn't it? When they've
well, I was going to say, not to pile up on Vahe here, but I think
And that's what you get for answering the question.
that's
You
right.
let everybody else go.
That's right.
It's on you, buddy.
Jump right in, Vahe. I think the defense is at its best, and the crowd will be at its loudest if the Chiefs win the toss, defer, and the defense goes on the field. And if the defense has any advantage with crowd noise, it'll be in the first,
That's an interesting
2.5 minutes of the game.
Yeah.
Possibly.
You're changing Vahe's mind. I see it. I see
Look,
it happening right here.
I'm going to stick with my guns, even though I may be wrong. That's just the way you have to do it. I'd rather see them.
I'm really impressionable. I would definitely change
That's a
my mind.
sports writer.
There you go. I was wrong. I can't say it. But Brooke and Sam, you haven't sounded off. Is it 4-1 here?
Yeah. Or at least 3-1.
Yeah, sure. You can talk to me. Go ahead. Yeah, no, go ahead.
I was thinking more of Lynn's point when I'm thinking of this, but then I love Blair's point too about getting on the field first.
But not yours.
That's when the loudest is. So
Everything but what you said.
Look at what the adrenaline. Look at what adrenaline has done on the road to Mahomes at Seattle, at Boston. He's just like overamped.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's where a team can be overamped. Even though the Colts,
Overamp him on defense?
well,
You want Andrew
right.
Luck to get overamped.
Even though they just won on the road in the playoff game, they have that little advantage. They've had, they just had a great win on the road in the playoff. They're not going to be intimidated coming here. I still would put them on the field first.
Well,
I
just
agree.
have to see what happens.
Agree to disagree.
All right, we have another question.
Sure. I know we've been talking about the Colts, but I've been thinking that the Chiefs haven't been in the Super Bowl in forever. But I'm thinking this is their year. They're going to make it to the Super Bowl. Who should they play if they beat the Colts?
That's a good question.
next week,
Yeah, next week.
probably going to be the Patriots, right? But are you saying like who would be a better matchup?
Who would be a better
Yeah, if you had a
matchup?
magic wand again,
you know
which
what?
team would you pick?
I actually think the Patriots. Like I don't think the Patriots. Like if you took the helmets, if you took like the name brand off of them, they're not what they were. You know what I mean? I don't think anyway. Like I think Tom Brady.
That's
I think he's
famous-
thrown some interceptions that
famous
he
last
never
words.
would have before. I think the roster is better with the Chargers. I think we saw a pass rush with Melvin Ingram and Joey Bosa coming from both sides. Like that was a big difference, right? The game here in Arrowhead, compared to the one in LA. I know it's dumb, invite Bill Belichick for a playoff game, but I think the Chargers are better.
Sorry, I'm really distracted because it's last call and my beer's empty. But that's a personal problem.
Patriots are 3-5 on the road this year,
Yeah.
and 8-0 at home. So they'd be coming here, and the Chargers just showed people how to beat the Chiefs at Arrowhead. I'm with Sam on this. I'd rather see New England, I think, than LA.
I'm going to disagree. I would rather see LA, but that's also because I go on emotion, and I know that there's more to football than emotion, and there's strategy, and there's everything else that happens. But the fact that the Chargers came in and beat the Chiefs at Arrowhead, I think Sam said this last week, and then might have regretted that you said it, but I don't think the Chargers beat the Chiefs twice at Arrowhead in the same
Maybe not.
season.
Yeah.
I think that I would rather see the Chargers if I'm the Chiefs, because to me, there's just no way that, and like knock on all the wood. I mean, I could just be jinxing the hell out of them, but that's my personal feeling.
Can the offense come out slow? Is the defense going to be good enough to where if the offense comes out slow, first playoff game, you never know, can they afford to do that? Will they be able to come back if we're down at halftime?
I think they can come back. I just don't think. I think you'd much rather be chased than chasing. I mean, it's obvious, right? But and this is also Lynn and I have disagreed on this too. But I do feel like I think the Chiefs have to get ahead to win. It doesn't mean they won't win if their percentages are just greatly increased if they're playing from ahead. I just believe that one of the things that happened early was the way it changed the dynamic of the game for them to get up early. Now I don't think they're getting up 21-0, but who knows? But it just can alter things and set other teams out of their game plans in a sense if you can do that. But as Lynn has pointed out to me before when I've made this case, you know, it's a different kind of game in the playoffs too, right? We're likely to see a little more defense, so it'll only be 35-31 instead of 48-45. I mean, you know, but I might be alone on that. I mean, I think they need to come out fast though, which is part of why I think they need to take the opening kickoff.
Well, no, I was going to say the reason that you can't afford to fall behind is because you're going to be kicking to start the second half. That's what, when you get the ball and you know you're going to score, then that takes a little edge off.
I feel like I'm playing chess, three-dimensional chess, and using checkers pieces. All right, you win.
So you have any more questions out there? Yes? No? Maybe my questions.
Sure.
Perfect.
Okay, so if we get over the hump, finally get that first win, do we just win it all? Do you believe if we win Saturday, we just go on and win it all?
I think we should all answer.
I feel like if the Chiefs win Saturday, they're going to the Super Bowl. I don't know if they win the Super Bowl, but I do feel like that. I do feel like it's a coin toss Saturday. But I would lean toward them winning Saturday, and I expect them going to the Super Bowl if they win Saturday.
I think they're the best team on their side of the bracket. I really do. Not by a huge percentage, not at all. But I do think they're the best team. But you're talking about like winning in Atlanta too. Yeah. And if they play the Saints, I think the Saints are a better team. You know what I mean? But look, again, we've seen this over and over again, right? Like the best team doesn't always win. But I do think they're better than the Colts. I think they're both going to score a lot of points, but the Colts can't score as much. You know, they're just not. They don't have Mahomes. Not to keep going back to that. And the Patriots are going to come in there and they got the best coach in the history of the sport, right? And a quarterback who's won more than anybody in the history of the sport. But I think the Chiefs have a better roster. And I think this year they have the better quarterback. They got the guy that's going to win the MVP. They're the better team. Doesn't mean they'll win though, as we've seen.
Lynn, what do you think?
I don't think if they win this weekend it guarantees that they're going, just because I think the Chargers are the team that's coming in here, and the fact that they've already come in here and won, they're not going to come in here afraid. They're not going to come in here with sort of the angst that everybody around here has about the playoff failures in the past. Like, they're going to come in here looking to win, thinking they can win, and I mean, even that first game, that the Chargers can go back and look at that and say, well, we didn't have Bosa, we didn't have these certain guys. So I feel like they're going to come in here feeling like they could win. So they could make it, but I don't think winning this weekend guarantees anything as far as them making it all the way. And then, like Sam pointed out, you get to the Super Bowl, whether it's New Orleans or if the Rams find a way to get through, we've already seen that game. So it's not a guarantee, but I think it might be a needed step for folks who are trying to get over that playoff hump,
Blair, what do you think?
No, I think if the Chiefs don't go 0-1, they'll go 2-1. I think they'll win. Yeah, I think they'll win the AFC title game. And if it's the Saints, I think the Saints
2-1.
Yeah, 2-1. They're going to go 0-1 or 2-1. I do think the Saints is a tough matchup for them. But who knows what could happen? Mahomes in the dome? Oh, that could be. Yeah. That could be. We saw him in the dome earlier this year throw a ball 70 yards in the air in the preseason game. So
Same dome.
it's funny. I think that the angst, as you described it, we all feel. I don't know if the team feels it, but I know the city feels it in a big way. Win Saturday. Just win Saturday. You guys haven't been around for a long time, but everywhere you go, people are just so tensed up about this game. And I don't think it's in the locker room. I was telling you this today. There's 15 guys on this team that have won a playoff game in a Chiefs uniform. There's 15 guys on the team that won in Houston 4 years ago. I don't think that the team feels what the fan base feels about this.
I was just going to say, just to add to that, because I think we were having this conversation. Like you said, you pointed out the guys that were on the team that actually won. And I don't think it really gets to the players, but it gets to the fans. And you pointed out that we aren't, this is our first year here, but I grew up in New England, not a Patriots fan. But it's just weird to me, or I was talking to somebody about this week, about how in New England, even though that team is not as good as some of the Patriot teams they've had in the past, the attitude is just, they know they're going to win. Whereas here, it's like I talked to somebody and I said, "So what do you think about the game?" And they're gonna lose. Somebody who is a Chiefs fan, they're gonna lose, just guaranteed. Like, no. I'm like, well, but how good this team has been Doesn't matter. I've seen it. They said, oh, I've seen it. More than one person said that. I've seen it. No.
My favorite words on this, other than all the glowing words we've all written, where it was a tweet to Sam, and I probably referred to it on Facebook Live before, but it was a guy, it was before the Raiders game, there was a guy asking, should we root for the Chiefs to lose to the Raiders so they can have a respectable road playoff loss instead of getting the number 1 seed and losing at home? And I thought that spoke to the State of the Union a little bit.
I agree with you. Well, I have one more question for everyone before score predictions. So, dang, I didn't write down the score. Oh, yes, didn't I?
No, I don't think.
Oh, well, I agree with, I agree with most people here. I think if they win this game, we're going to Atlanta. Everybody pack your bags, get ready. I've already started online shopping, so I'm ready to go.
Swing that thing down and answer again.
I have one more question for everyone before score predictions. I just realized I didn't write my score prediction down, so now I'm sure someone's going to steal it because you all read my mind too often. What has to happen for the season to be a success? Where do the Chiefs have to finish? I stole it from somebody. They've asked me, and I can't remember who it was, but I'm going to pretend like it's my own. What has to happen for this season to feel good about the way that it ends? Let's start, Sam.
Win twice. I think if you get to Atlanta.
But anything less than Atlanta is not a failure, but you end with a bad taste in your mouth.
There's different levels, right? Like this, and it's just, oh my God, not even the curly-haired angel can save us from, the thing. And then, but if you win and then lose in the AFC Championship game, it's kind of like, it wouldn't be an abject failure. It wouldn't be losing to the Colts, on a missed field goal or whatever. But I don't think you plant the flag in the ground and say, season was a shining success because they went 1-1 in the playoffs.
I've covered a team where they literally planted flags in the ground. So
you have, yeah.
I don't know if that'll happen here. Are there flags to plant in the ground? Vahe, what do you think?
Sam's point's right, but I call it a success if they finally win a game at Arrowhead, right? And they win one more playoff game at Arrowhead than Baltimore, or Indianapolis has. I'm stuck on that, Jeff. I keep saying Baltimore.
My parents do the same thing.
Yeah, but win that, right? And I think, I don't want to say it's house money after that, but I do think, this is the first year of the Mahomes era. I think you can say you broke through, and the future, you have every reason to think you can do it then and more afterwards. So I just like to see him win one.
Lynn, what do you want to see?
So I guess I think you get to the Super Bowl, that's a success. Losing the AFC Championship game, I guess that's like a push. And losing this weekend would be a failure because I don't think you can, losing the AFC Championship game and call it success, but I don't think it's a failure either. I think you could still, if you were trying to be optimistic, give it the old, it's the first year with Mahomes. Defense was probably, or things probably moved a little bit ahead of schedule in terms of that defense wasn't ready for the run that they were trying to make. You got a lot of young guys, so you can probably sort of try to justify it into not being a failure. And like I say, that's a push. But losing at home this weekend, it's just going to pile up. It's going to pile on top of everything else.
Blair, what do you think?
I think Andy Reid needs to win 2 games. I think his legacy's on the line on this. He's got the quarterback that he's always wanted, and he's won. He's only behind Belichick in terms of number of career victories among active coaches and top 10 all time. He's been to 1 Super Bowl. He's been to just one NFC. Several NFC,
right,
4 or 5 NFC Championship games. He won one of those.
Okay.
I think he needs this as much as anybody, and I also think that the national perception would be different than the local perception. I think the national perception would be if the Chiefs, as the number 1 seed, don't beat the number 6, beat the number 6. And then win a home game in the AFC title game, that's a failure. Locally, I think we tend to look at this as just get one. If they get one, then that'll be a stepping stone to future success. But you're never guaranteed this. We talk about Mahomes being the quarterback for the next decade or more, and great seasons are just going to naturally follow. You're not guaranteed 12-4 and a number 1 seed all the time. You can't expect Patriots-like success or Manning Denver Broncos-like success. So I think you strike when you can. This is a year to strike. Win 2 games, get to the Super Bowl, and let's see what happens.
One quick addendum, which is just, it maybe is against the flow of all this, but let's remember what we looked at before the season too, though. I mean,
It doesn't matter now,
the high
though.
end.
That doesn't matter. We all
We
said
burdened all
8
those
and 8, 9 and 7.
Doesn't exist on the internet.
And then
anymore.
Mahomes goes out and throws 10 touchdown passes in the first 2 games and changes everybody.
that's true.
That's the whole thing,
Yeah.
man. Like the building year was based on that kid being like a human quarterback, like a normal, flawed quarterback. It was like once he does this, whew, you got to keep going, man. You got to keep going.
Yeah, I mean, Sam's been writing about him every day for like 3 months now, or 4 months, whatever it's been, You can't now just come out there. No. That bar's been set high.
Well, I'm going to go. I think if they win this game, then it's a success and everything else is gravy. Even though Blair's argument almost persuaded me to change my answer, but I wanted to be like Vahe and stick to my guns. So I'm gonna go if they win this game. If they win this game, and let me put a stipulation on it, if they win this game and then lose a close one in the next game, which I feel like is kind of cheating and they can't actually do that, but so before we wrap up, because we've been going a lot longer than usual, it's definitely not because I had caffeine and
Through
this.
last call, even.
I know. It's the first time I've ever not gone to the bar at last call. Let's give out score predictions. I've written mine down. I've folded the corner of my paper
Yeah, I
so that
saw it.
Blair can't. Did you really?
No, I didn't.
Oh. It wouldn't shock me. Blair's so dishonest.
Wow. It's true. What can I say?
Said nobody ever.
Really though, Blair, who won a big award this weekend and just came in all humble and everything like it didn't even happen. Hall of Famer. We're lucky. But anyway, he's still not going to steal my score. Let's go with score predictions. That's why it's folded. Sam, what do you got?
41-36, home team.
Okay.
38-24 home team.
I'll go 31-28 Chiefs.
Okay.
38-34 Colts.
You almost stole my score. I went 38-35 Chiefs.
Oh.
So you almost stole my score, but not quite. So we have one pessimist. If you'd like to send hate mail, Blair Kerkhoff is who you should address
You know what?
it all to.
I picked the Chiefs at the Seahawks. That was dumb. We should have seen that. Jeff tried to tell me. We should have seen that one coming. And
Yeah, but we
this
didn't
isn't
want
a-
the hate mail, so
No,
it was a
but-
business
but
decision.
the more I hear about the Colts and where their strengths are, the more I just ugh. And I watched the game last week. They were really good.
Yeah, I
Really
watched
good.
the game too because if they had lost, I was going to be on a plane to Baltimore and I needed to know when to hit the cancel button on that Southwest
Right.
flight and get the refund. So, on that note, we're going to sign off from here. Thanks everybody for watching. Extra thanks to everybody who came, showed up. We really appreciate it. So hopefully we can do this again sometime. Fingers crossed we have more opportunities this season. We'll have to do it again.
We've never done the Chiefs playoff victory Facebook Live. So.
We'll break new ground. So until next time, whenever next time is, whether it's tomorrow, whether it's Saturday, it'll definitely be Saturday, but we'll catch you guys later. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you soon.